Hey folks, Friday again. Look at this weather, isn't it beautiful? Apart from they've been spraying the skies again, but there you go. You know, of course they haven't been spraying the skies. No, this is all completely natural. You know, all those planes spitting all this crap out the back, that's completely natural. But global warming is man-made. There. And if you watch my last video, you'll see the ad hominems and that I was getting from a global warmist, a statist, who I've got no ill will against. I mean, you know, I'm certainly no scientist, so if somebody points out something, you know, I've said is wrong, then that's fine. But that's got to be based on genuine figures, not IPCC figures or whatever they're called, NASA figures, which are clearly fabricated. You know, even mainstream science are beginning to wake up to the fact that the figures have been faked, because you only got to look back at the 1970s figures and you'll see that that NASA's been frigging the figures just to so that they can pump out these satanic lies about global warming and that. You know, this is all part of the plan, and I don't know why people can't wake up and see it. It's happening everywhere, isn't it? LED lights, 5G, smaller and smaller housing, no more councils, they're all private corporations, not public corporations anymore. You know, all our national sites like Stonehenge, places like that, all given to the World Bank under the cover of English heritage in inverted commas. Yeah, and you know, desperately, it's in everything, absolutely everything. Excuse me, and it's getting to the point now where everybody can see it. Now the gold price has been rocketing recently. I think they've gone up 40 quid in 2 weeks an ounce, which for gold is a lot. That signifies people are looking for a safe haven for their money. They're losing face fast in this fiat system that we've got, which means we are very close to a collapse. So if you've got money in the bank, it's when I get paid, that money gets drawn straight out. It's not money, it's promissory notes anyway. Gold and silver is money. Paper money is promissory notes, not worth the paper it's written on. This is why they can take your stuff, because you've not paid for it. You know, you've only promised to pay for it, even though your sweat and toil is physically. If you was paid in gold and silver at work, and then you paid for your house in gold and silver, then that would be yours. And this is the giant deception that they've pulled on us. You know, I didn't realise this until not so long ago. And most people still don't realise it. They're trying to kill off the older people that remembered the old system, where the public actually owned stuff and the Parliament didn't proclaim its sovereignty. You know, the clamping down of what I call the mainstream press, which used to be called independent media. I think that's inverted now. I think that the independent media is the only media sources that are actually telling the truth, and the rest is just propaganda outlets. You know, the Ministry of Truth used to be known as the BBC. So, you know, when you look at internet sites like Adapt 2030 and Oppenheimer Ranch project, and they refer to all these other sites. Well, I've got shortcuts to all these other sites, and it shows that the ice in Greenland has increased since 2017. 2018, it was the lowest year for quite a long time. This year, it's back up towards 2016 levels. I don't know if it was a lady or a gentleman who I was having a discussion with. I started with the ad hominem attacks. Well, there's no need for it really. I'm not dishonest, and if they knew me, they'd know that I'm not dishonest. But we all make mistakes, and I was saying that I'm wrong. I'm just saying that I can't be bothered more than anything to really research deeply into this. I'm convinced by the figures I'm shown, and if I think there's a fishy figure somewhere, there's that rattling coming up, then I look into it more. But it's been proved, I can see what's happening in front of me. Because I'm not a statist, I've got a healthy disrespect for anything that the government's push out. And I used to think that, and I was correct in thinking that government used to produce figures that would more or less tell you the truth. But since governments are now corporations and they're all owned by the banks have to keep up their lies and to justify things like green taxes and culling the world's population to 500 million and what else? Bringing in the smart cities agenda. So you'll all live in a little rabbit hutch and you'll all have free money, but you'll be told exactly what to do. There'll be perpetual war, like there already is, to support the military-industrial complex. And I think things are getting critical now. I think they really are. I think it's very, very close to it all turning to shit. And because they're in charge of the money and the supply chains, I think things are going to get difficult. As much as I'd hate to say it. So all I can suggest to people is they get prepared best they can. If you can afford a bit of gold and silver, it's a bit too late, but you can still get hold of it. If you can't afford gold, get silver, because it's only 12, I think you'd probably pay about 15 quid for an ounce of silver at the moment. And it's worth more than a useless piece of paper. This new money, you can't even wipe your arse on it, is it? Because it's all crispy and plastic. It's not absorbent. The old money didn't used to be absorbent, but at least it was bigger and you could wipe your arse on it. So get some food in, make sure your house is secure, make sure you can keep yourself warm. Because it seems to me like it's getting to the point where it's going to be a perfect storm. We're going to have a grand solar minimum, so we're going to have record low temperatures and extreme weather events. We're going to have a global financial collapse, and probably Russia China, the US, us, the France and German Pact, and a bunch of other odds and sods countries all going to war in the Middle East at the same time. So I think times are getting a bit on the edge. I'm sorry to be a bit of a doom and gloomer, but I think that's the way it's going. But there's no need for it. That's the thing. All of this could be avoided. There's no need for any of this. This is the ancient priest class causing chaos because they would rather live they would be in charge of a prison full of slaves than live with natural law where everybody's free. Did you know the first true king of England, Alfred, he actually didn't want to form a government. He said that there's no need for a king and I don't want to be king. And the people demanded it. See, he understood what was in the scriptures. He was a very pious man. And he understood what was in the scriptures. He understood, I mean, it wasn't that long before Alfred that it was only 900 or so years that Jesus came over to Glastonbury with Joseph of Arimathea when he was a boy. At that time, as far as I can ascertain, the religious houses in Wales and certainly here in Cornwall, the Phoenicians are doing a hell of a lot of trade here, and we've still got holy wells here of a Phoenician design. So Jesus may well have studied in the mystery schools of Chem in Egypt now, but he came here and all, and I think he definitely came to the southwest of England. Cornish used to be known as the Welsh, and Welsh is the closest language to Hebrew there is. A Hebrew speaker can speak to a Welsh person, which I think is, gives you a big clue as to the trading patterns and the demographics of the ancient times. But this chaos, they've been building this, the Catholic Church has gradually been destroying any kind of dissent. Sorry, I'm just concentrating on driving. By murdering heretics. Don't ask me. Well, I know why they did it. They did it because the ancient religions of the world were based in natural law, and the Gnostics. You'll hear Christians all over the place slagging off the Gnostics and all that. But they're so sucked into churchianity or Constantinianity, whatever you want to call it. The Romans put whole chapters in the Bible about you must obey government, and all government is just based in violence and slavery. So what they're doing with this 5G and with all this breakdown of society, and that is purely to create a prison you know, let's face it, they got a track record. They put thousands and thousands and thousands of people to death over the last 1,000 years, and they won't have any compunction of carrying that on. But the thing is, you mustn't be scared. You mustn't. You've got to remember the universe is a mirror. If you're scared, you'll get more scaredness back, and more worry, and more stress and illness. You've got to think and act with natural law as your guide. And once you do that, you'll understand and you'll lose the fear. The universe is mental. If you put out mental vibrations of the right frequencies into the ether, the universe will provide that back to you. If you put a lot of negative energy into the universe, then you'll get negative energy back. Get how it works. So all this chaos, you've got to forget about it. You've got to not worry about it. All this crap that, you know, I hear them talking at work. Oh, this has happened on the telly last night, seen blah blah, you know, Brexit and plagues and pestilence, and you know, it's all about keeping up the fear levels. All this propaganda. You know, look out your window. You know, you're looking out my window right now. What do you see? Apart from a coach. But you see, what you see is the real world. This is the real world without anybody lying to you. This is what you're perceiving now is what the universe is providing us to live on. And the less moral a society becomes, the more of a prison we all live in. We're supposed to be in harmony with this beautiful countryside, and we're not. The whole system is designed to destroy and to rape and to keep you in fear and loathing of your neighbours, and it's not meant to be like that. And it won't be. Once this turbulent time is over and they've lost, you know, you can't go against the universe forever. Good will always overcome evil, and the evil ones want to they'd rather rule in hell than serve in heaven. Well, I'd rather serve in heaven, thanks. I'd rather help people, and I'm trying to do my little bit, which is why I asked you all to share these videos. I get to vent my spleen, but also I'm trying to get a message over here. Satanism isn't a big evil monster with horns, and it's a group of psychopaths and sociopaths who have got themselves into levels of power. And if you read the old books as well, the ancient books, you know, David Icke is not so stupid as he sounds, because the ancient books talk about a reptilian race who could transform themselves into human form, and they took over the governments and all these other institutions and killed the people who are really there, you know. Don't know if you ever remember that TV series V. Well, quite like that. Or They Live. That's a good one. That is. It's on YouTube. You can watch that. They Live. It's worth watching. The Satanists always tell you what they're doing. I think it's a form of mockery, personally. But they're not going to win. They think they are. This is why they're mocking us. They think it's a done deal. But if you can learn to meditate, right? I'm not very good at it, but I am practicing. Bring your mind into equilibrium, bring your left and the right sides of your brain. Try and identify what you are. You know, you're creative, you enjoy the arts and all that kind of thing. If you're more, you know, emotional and what have you, then you're more right brain than left brain. If you're technical, like I am, and that, then you're more left brain, more masculine. Feminism is deliberate. Third wave feminism is a deliberate thing to destroy the masculine, but without the masculine and the feminine, you've got nothing. You've got imbalance, and that's what they want. They want you in left brain or right brain, so that you can't be. Once you're in equilibrium, things start to fall into place. You become much happier inside. You have more understanding. You can see through their lies. And it's a natural process. You don't have to try. You just need to educate yourself. You know, Jesus said, "No." What did he say? I can't remember the saying name, but it's basically, you know, then you will be set the knowledge will set you free, or something like that. You need to understand, and this is why you need to study the occult, because you need to know the difference between the dark occult and the light occult. And once you understand natural law, you'll be able to differentiate between dark occultism and light occultism. You can see dark occultism all ranges at the moment. So what's happening, you know, heads of state just being placed there, like Macron, May, that twat in the Irish Parliament. They've all been just placed there. None of them have been elected. Excuse me. They're all ex-bankers. They're all puppets. This is why they just follow the party line continuously. They're there to do a job. They're there to destroy the nation state, and they're doing a damn good job of it. But they'll be rewarded in being thrown into the pit, along with all their friends and other evil doers, when the time comes. So, but you've got to remember, say take the yellow vests in France that none of the lamestream media over here is reported on. Every one of those policemen, right, you'll get a few in that police crowd. They won't touch anybody, they won't hit anybody, they might shove somebody, you know, but you know, shoving's not exactly doing a harm, to allay suspicion, because they know the difference between right and wrong. And I'll tell you something, they probably won't make a career in the police after this, if indeed there is a police force after this. And that's because they know the difference between right and wrong. It's naturally in them. Whereas there's some in that crowd been ordered to use malicious violence against unarmed members of the general public, and they absolutely love it. They do it all day long. They do it for free because they get to put on a costume and beat fuck out of people with absolute impunity. Now, the people who ordered them to do that aren't going to carry as much karma as them, because they're doing the action. The policeman who stood next to them or behind them, who hasn't hit anybody, who hasn't fired a rubber bullet into somebody's face, who hasn't fired a grenade in so it blows your eye out or blows your hand off, that policeman isn't going to be carrying half as much karma as the other policeman. The people who ordered them there are going to carry very little karma, but I would postulate that purely the fact that they got to where they are, they're probably evil people anyway. But that's not the point I'm trying to make. The people who are having wrongs done to them are the people on the streets. You know, the general public, just men and women. Do you see that? I don't know if you can see that plane spraying the skies. Right? Look at those three chemtrails, all those chemtrails there. Look. So the members of the general public are it's alright, you just shove your way through, love, I don't mind. The members of the general public are being hurt and killed or injured and not killed. Yeah. They're not carrying any bad karma. All they're doing is saying we don't agree with this, and the state is going mad, and that's because the state is run by Satanists. They're loving this. It's like a sacrifice to them. So the more discord that they can build, the better. You know, the only way you're not gonna change things by protesting in Paris or anywhere else on the streets, because politicians will just pull the police out on the streets and beat shit out of you. Exactly what they're doing in France, exactly what they do over here. They're bringing in more and more draconian laws, and this will just bring in even more. What we need to do collectively is we need to actually stop complying with the system. You know, wouldn't it be lovely if everybody just said, right, we're not going to work this week for a week? They'd be fucked. That would finish their system off for good. What could they do? They couldn't round everybody up, could they? But that's the only way we're going to get out of this mess. But people are so unwoke. And apparently occultists called the general public the dead or the unbegun, and this is why you need to understand the occult. I was having a talk with a Christian the other day, and he's going round around the churches basically looking for a church. And I said to him, you've got to study the occult, because if you don't understand both sides of the coin, the occult just means hidden. Okay? You don't have to act on any of it. You don't need to become a witch or a wizard or a Wiccan or a Freemason or anything like that. You don't have to do any of that. But you need to understand the knowledge. You need to understand how the system works. Look into natural law. That's the first step. Understand natural law and you'll understand all of it. Anyway, have a great weekend. TTFN.